Welcome into Texans Pep Talk. I'm Chancellor Johnson, joined by DJ Bieneme of ESPN and former Texans offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton. And guys, the Houston Texans are 3-1 on the year, heading into Week 5. They were led in that last game by C.J. Stroud in that final drive. How many QBs in this league are you taking over him in the clutch?
When you asked me that like about 15 minutes ago, I was like, it's probably a decent amount. Then I actually started looking. Outside of Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, I'm putting C.J. Stroud up there with anybody else in terms of clutchness.
With anybody else?
Anybody.
At Mahomes,
Yeah,
Josh Allen.
in Kansas City that may have something to say about that.
Let's take it back to last week on that final drive, the last play on that scoring touchdown. Pep, how'd they get it done?
Well, a heck of a play call and play design by Coach Slowick and the offensive staff. You can see here, all right, it's an I formation inside the 2-yard line. The defense, of course, is thinking a downhill run. But if you look closely at the play, all right, I formation, as I talked about, they got Nico in what we call a cut split. You see the entire offensive line and the tight end blocking down. They're stepping down inside. You see the little hat, all right, and then we ultimately saw the reaction from the defense. All right, they were expecting some type of gap scheme, power play. All right, it's man coverage. All right, and what we're going to see is the guy that was responsible for covering the back, that was in the eye, was the free safety. And he was in the middle of the field. So he really didn't have a chance to negotiate all that traffic to get out to the flats before, all right, we were able to outflank him and score the winning touchdown in this game.
And that was just on offense, DJ. The Houston Texans also made a really big stop on 4th down to ultimately give them a chance late in this one. Foley, the defensive tackle, came up with a big-time stop. We'll show it in just a moment here. How big was this play to ultimately help them win this ballgame?
In reality, I would say that play, without it, the Texans lose. Because the way the offense looked in the second half, they didn't score a touchdown until the last drive. So without Foley making that play on 4th down to get Trevor Lawrence on that quarterback sneak, they lose that game. Because they would have been down by double digits. And there's no way I think they would have been able to score 14 points to be able to get the victory.
And if you look closely, you see instead of having 2-3 techniques, it's an empty formation, no backs in the backfield. Instead of having both defensive tackles lined up on the outside half of the guard, you look at Foley, you look at him closely, he had his eyes on the quarterback the entire time. He wasn't looking to pass rush, and get upfield. He anticipated that this could possibly be a quarterback draw. That's a great job by D'Amico Ryans and their defensive staff.
What did you think about that call there by Doug Pearson on that QB draw there?
I think it's a great call if it works.
Me too.
If it works.
I agree there, because in reality, like, if he's able to just lunge over, he's 6'6". If he can get the ball over the plane, that's a touchdown. So again, right, if the right guard makes that block, he's in there.
And another part of it is the execution of the play. I thought the quarterback was just a bit impatient. All right, we would like to see Trevor go ahead and really give me a shuffle reset.
Okay.
Give me a true pass set of some sort, all right, to attract the rushers to get upfield, and now it's going to open up, and he'll find a run lane to get to.
Can we see that drop back one more time?
Shuffle reset. Shuffle. Reset.
Come on.
Pump it if you want to.
All right now. Pep, I hope you stretched.
Give that quarterback.
I hope you stretched.
That quarterback,
You got to get it right.
My fault.
That was one of the biggest plays of the game, but the biggest player of the game. This week's Texans Pep Talk Player of the Week. You see the man.
Well.
The guy's leading the league in receiving yards, 12 catches, 151 yards, and a touchdown. Coach, you recruited this guy back in the day.
Well, you know, I feel like I have a pretty good eye for talent. All right. No, at the end of the day, Coach Ben McDaniels, all right, has done an amazing job of helping Nico to realize his full potential. I must say, when I first got Nico at Michigan, he was 15 pounds heavier than he is now. All right. The talent was there, but now he is in optimal shape. All right. The synergy between Nico and CJ, and then ultimately, as I mentioned, you know, what the coaching staff, specifically Coach Ben McDaniels, have been able to do with Nico, putting him in positions to be successful, all right, is one of the best jobs in the league, in my opinion. DJ,
what's impressed you the most about what Nico has been able to do so far? He's on pace for over 2,000 receiving yards.
I think the most impressive thing is his connection with CJ is very reminiscent of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, especially after the catch. Right now, Nico Collins is second in the NFL in yards on extended plays. So whenever the play breaks down, he finds a way to consistently get open. So if he doesn't get open on the first read, he finds a way after the play when there's a bunch of junk to get in the window so CJ can find him the ball and keep the drive alive.
And that's coaching, guys. The scramble drill is something that you work in practice. And these guys, as you mentioned, they're doing a great job of keeping plays alive and ultimately just making big plays.
Nico's like a 7-Eleven. He's always open. We'll be right back after the break.
I feel like it was amazing, especially coming from Minnesota. You know, since I stepped foot in that building, we had some good years. Had a real good run. Played at a very high level. Did the bone with a good group of guys. So something I'll never forget.
He got a bad rap, you know, just by the media and like by people. But man, he's not been nothing but just amazing to this team and to his teammates. He's helped me out a ton, and you know, as you can see, we're clicking more and more every game. So, you know, I'm very happy for him, and you know, I'm glad that you know he's finally having fun playing the game. And
DJ, he got a bad rap. What did we do? We're media members. What did we do to Stefon Diggs, man?
Man, to be honest, I think a lot of fake news that came out in regards to how Stefon Diggs really is.
You know, Pep, they were saying all the right things leading up to this game. He didn't talk bad about his ex-team, but you know, you've been in the locker room before. You've been in those meetings. How amped up are former players to play on their former team?
I think it's something that it's just human nature. I mean, there's a genuine excitement, but at the same time, it becomes very personal when you have a player that was a legacy player for a franchise.
Legacy, too.
And when I said legacy, maybe Stefon Diggs wasn't quite a legacy player for the Buffalo Bills, but he was one of their better players, right? Yep. One of their premier players. I had the opportunity, and I think it was 2015, when I was coaching at the other AFC South team that's up in the Midwest, and we acquired Andre Johnson.
Actual legacy player for the Texans.
An actual legacy player for our Houston Texans. And we played a Thursday night game, week 5, here at NRG. And up until that point, if you know Andre Johnson, he's not real animated. Yep. He's a man of a few words, right? The 2 games leading up to that Thursday night game, he didn't have any catches, all right? Well, it was important for myself and the coaching staff to make sure that a player of his stature who had the credibility in the locker room that he had, it was important for me to make sure that we, made it a point of emphasis to give him a chance to touch the ball early and often. He finished that game with 2 touchdowns and a big old smile on his face. All right? More importantly, we won the game. So.
Absolutely. What impact have you seen Stefon Diggs make on the Houston Texans team early in this season?
He spent a lot of time in the slot. Almost 70% of his routes have been out of the slot. And on third downs, when CJ Stroud targets him, he has a passer rating of 130. And that's towards the top of the NFL. So he's open often, open early. He gets separation, because right now his separation rate is 3.0. And the average league is like 2.2. So he's well above the league average according to Next Gen Stats. So while Nico is getting a lot of love, Stefon Diggs has fit the bill of what you wanted him to do.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Of when you brought him in, when you gave up a second-round pick.
Now, this game isn't just about Stefon Diggs. Of course, it's about the 2 teams in the AFC who are fighting potentially to go to a Super Bowl. We're talking about Super Bowl contenders. How much of a measuring stick type of game is this between the Bills and the Texans heading into Sunday?
For me, since it's week 5, it's way, way, way too early because, again, like teams get better as the year progresses, right? The Texans last year, around this time, they looked like a okay football team, right? Looked like a team they just wanted to see how far could they go in that first year. And then by the end of the season, they were in the divisional round. But a lot of people didn't anticipate that they were going to be in that spot by week 5 of last year. So it's still early. While, yes, the Buffalo Bills are a premier team in the AFC, regardless of what happens in week 5, I'm not going to say that it is a measuring stick for the Texans.
Because
now, what I would say is, you know how often you guys say, that's coach speak? I'm saying something, but I'm really not telling you how.
But what's
really
the real?
feel.
Give me the real.
That was reporter speak. That's what that was, All right, this is a must-win game for the Buffalo Bills. After what happened on national TV last Sunday night, the way that Derrick Henry exposed their defense, they have a defensive head coach. All right, Sean McDermott, one of the best defensive minds in the National Football League. That team is going to come in here on Sunday with a big, big chip on their shoulder. All right, but none of that matters. You still got to execute between the lines. But they'll come out, and the Texans will get the best version of the Buffalo Bills on Sunday.
So a must-win for the Bills, but do you feel the same way for the Houston Texans?
I do. I feel like it's always really important to defend home field. Yep. Back when I had the opportunity to be a part of teams that felt like we had a chance to compete in the playoffs, we would talk about winning all our home games and splitting on the road. All right, a lot different than college football where you say, man, you got to win everyone.
Yeah.
We would say, okay, let's run the table at home and we split on the road and we got a chance to get home field advantage. And boy, watch out. We don't want to have to go, to New England. Now you don't want to have to go to Kansas City, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right.
But even so, I would say that this Buffalo Bills team, they match up well against the Houston Texans. All right. Baltimore gave them a hard way because they were able to run the football. All right, the Texans, I don't know that the strength of the offense right now is the run game, especially without Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce.
Joe Mixon is out for Sunday's game. Dameon Pierce is questionable, but they have Cam Akers. He will be available. We'll see if that run game can get going for the Houston Texans. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Texans Pep Talk. We'll go around the league now. Quarter of the way through the season, a lot has happened, but we'll start with the best storyline. For me, I got to go with Justin Fields. For him to go from Chicago to Pittsburgh, supposedly he's supposed to be in a QB battle, but right now he has the Pittsburgh Steelers offense really playing well, and right now he's playing the best ball of his career. I'm going with Justin Fields for the best storyline around the football league right now.
Well, he's a part of my best storyline. I'm talking about just this QB resurgence, and that's really more so of the guys that are getting a second opportunity to prove themselves. And we're talking Baker Mayfield, we're talking Sam Darnold, all right, Justin Fields. Am I forgetting one, right? All right, but we're talking about that group of quarterbacks. It was Geno Smith, who's leading the league in passing, by the way. We're talking about a group of guys that were written off at the teams that drafted them.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Pep, how much do you think them having a resurgence is more about the organization that they went to?
Well, I think just some of the pressure that you put on these guys that you draft in the early rounds or you draft in the first round specifically, when they come into an organization, they're typically joining a bad team. And then those scars, they just never recover and overcome.
To the next one now, we will take a look at the biggest surprise. To me, it's the Minnesota Vikings, still undefeated on the season. Brian Flores, that defense, one of the best defenses in the league. Right now, they're looking like the team that can win the NFC North. They are my biggest surprise on the season.
For me, it's Nico Collins. And the reason—
And you recruited the guy.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little biased, there's no doubt. Okay? All right, but at the same time, when we picked up Stefon Diggs, all we heard was, hey, Stefon Diggs, Tank Dell. Nico was kind of an afterthought, right? All right. The tight end still hadn't really been featured in the passing game, but Nico is not only leading the Texans, but he's leading the league. Yep. All right. Well, he's one of the top receivers in the league.
Yeah. I mean, right now, Nico looks like an all-pro guy.
How about that rookie?
Is Jaden Daniels, right? Completing 80% of his passes, the highest in NFL history through the first 4 weeks. He doesn't look like a rookie right now. I'm sure the rookie wall will eventually happen where he finally, has a couple of bad games, but it's kind of amazing to see back-to-back years, number 2 overall picks, playing like Pro Bowlers.
Now that's the biggest surprises, but how about the biggest disappointment? To me, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their owner, Mr. Khan, said that this is the best roster that's ever been assembled in that organization. And what has it got them? Over. Haven't won a game. They're the biggest disappointment on the season. Doug Peterson, he's on the hot seat.
That puts a lot of pressure on the head coach and the coaching staff. But I do think there's a lot of football ahead of this Jaguars team, and maybe they'll figure it out. But for me, it was the Cowboys defense, or it is the Cowboys defense. Dak is playing pretty good football.
Right.
All right. Defensively, they just hadn't done a good job of stopping the run. And you got to be able to stop the run in the National Football League.
I know it pains you to say this.
For me, it's obviously Mike McDaniel. And I get it. Tua's a really good quarterback, but he's not Mahomes. He's not Josh Allen. For you to lose him and the offense can't even get over 15 points just overall. I think right now that 15 total through 2 games without Tua, that's on the supposed genius. We were told he's a genius.
DJ picked that picture.
Hey, come on, man.
Well, Mike McDaniel, he's been disappointing, and so has DJ and his picks. We'll get to the picks now. We'll take a look at last week and see how the results fared up. DJ, 7-9. That's below 500. Below 500.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Pep and I 11-5. I guess I'll share
I'm
first place with him.
officially 11-5. You're not official just yet because we never see your picks.
We never see.
Oh my God!
So we really don't know. We don't know if you
see the picks every single week when we do it.
We don't
just
see
like
you actually.
Oh my God!
I'm consistently in double digits, with my picks.
Okay. Anyways, we're gonna see about that heading into week 5. Let's start with those picks from Pep.
He's 0 for already.
You lost the last game,
That's
Pep.
consistent. I'm consistent. I hadn't won a Thursday game. I've only won one thus far in the season, right? All right, but look at this week's picks. All right,
are you still taking Buffalo over Texans even with the updated injury report? Are you still standing firm on that?
Now, this game on Sunday at NRG is all about matchups. All right? And if the Texans can't get the run game going, I just don't feel like they match up as well against the Buffalo Bills for that reason.
So you're standing on business, you're picking the Buffalo Bills?
Unfortunately, yes. I'm a Texans fan. All right, but I'm picking the Bills this week.
What about DJ's picks for the week? We'll pop those up now. Pep, he lost his Thursday night football game. DJ, you won yours.
Sir.
DJ picked the Bills.
Are you still standing on business with the Bills?
I'm switching that.
Oh, gosh.
Who's Josh going to throw to?
Yeah, I'm
His number one receivers out. They're both of their best D linemen are out. Yeah, I'm just saying, the best nickel corner, he might also be out. I don't know, man. I don't know.
And then finally, for my picks, I originally picked the Bills. That's before that injury report came out with no Khalil Shakir, and they're missing Von Miller, who will be out, and Ed Oliver. I have to go with the Houston Texans now, but I won my Thursday night football game. I want to know to begin the week. We'll see how we fare next week in week 5. For DJ, Pep, DJ, you got something to say?
If the Bills win, though, hey, that's on the screen. If the Bills win, that's on the screen.
No. You're on the record. You're on the record.
That's a report.
Thanks for watching Texans Pep Talk.